Hello, everyone in the archives of the DCBuzz, and welcome to once again to the live group. We've got a nice group of people here, and we are going to be talking about repurposing your content for social media. So I want to give a little bit of an agenda of what we're going to be talking about, so everyone is aware of the direction this is going to go. Because before we started recording, somebody asked if we were going to be going into some writing. It can go down the track of writing a little bit because we're going to talk about some of the aesthetics of repurposing. We're going to talk about short form and long form. Just making sure on the tech. We're going to talk about social delivery methods, the target audience, and the idea of the methods. There are snippets, episodes, or full stories. But we're going to also talk about the aesthetics of aspect ratios. Then we got to get into some technical, and I'm going to talk through some examples of industry repurposing and what you retain or lose. That's important in the visual story when you're repurposing. And then I'm going to finish up with a demonstration of reshaping a horizontal story on here. But I do have some people that I recognize here, but I do have to introduce myself. My name is Michael Hanley. I am the course owner of Professional Development Seminar 1 and Project Art Portfolio 2. And I am doing this seminar with a very specific reason in mind. And I need to stop the share and give a little bit of an extra introduction to myself. For those that have not had me in a class, I am a little bit of a passionate geek when it comes to things, when it comes to storytelling. And basically, I am a Gen X 61-year-old man born right at the beginning of the Gen X. And I have worked in film since I was basically in high school. I wrote my first script when I was 11 years old. I don't know how I knew how to write a script, and it came natural to me. I say all this because of the fact that media has been changing very rapidly over the last few years. And basically, I am used to this world, the world of the 4x3 or 16x9 frame. That is me. That is how I think. And that's the issue that we're running into when it comes to a lot of the stuff that's happening with filmmaking and storytelling. And why I wanted to do this is there needs to be a balance in understanding 16x9 and 9x16 and all the other aspect ratios. It's not a versus. No one should ever think that social media, 16x9, 9x16, 1x1, any of these things are a versus. It's just a matter of how you want to tell your story and where you want to present it to. So as I go along, I'm going to be talking about some things in the historical side of the equation here, where the long form came from, and basically all of it is going to be coming over on. Thank you on the background. All this is going to be coming from my personal experience. So I'm not coming in as some social media expert well, I'm coming in as a social media expert on storytelling, but I mean, I'm not coming in with this is how you must do it, and this is how you must play, and this is how you must. I do not believe in the idea of you must. I believe you should understand the concepts and see where you're going, and then you decide what you want to do with this. So as I talk about it, I want you to decide what you're going to do and how you're going to do things. So with that being said, I'm going to go back into the share, and could you please mute your microphone? All right. So let's start where it came from. Long form video. There is this definite attitude of what do we mean by long form and short form? And we have to understand that long form has developed a different meaning over the last few years, because long form really started to with YouTube. All of this started about 2005 in 4x3 standard framing, cathode ray tube, computer screens were basically square on that one. And this is only 21 years ago. And I say only because that's a drop in the bucket on things. YouTube originally was 10 minutes maximum to prevent from people posting pirated movies. That was the reason for the cutoff, the pirated movies. In 2010, it jumped to 15 minutes long. And then at the end of the year, it jumped to 12 hours. 12 hours. The platform that basically started off as 4x3 doing 10-minute films, so 10-minute shorts, so that basically you couldn't pirate films, now goes up to 12 hours. In 2021, YouTube launched globally shorts that lasted a minute. And I will tell you honestly on here that you really do discover how long a minute is when you're watching these things, and especially when you're editing one of these shorts. That, I think, is why YouTube expanded out to 3-minute shorts in 2024. So one of the things that I want to basically reference on here, interesting comment. 10 minutes is also long form and how you get paid. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Basically, that is an interesting scenario. But what I want to do is I want to address the fact that we're using these as a platform for ourselves to be self-promoted. And when I was doing on-campus behind the scenes, back around the time YouTube started, I've been here for 25 years, and I've been doing behind the scenes on campus since about the same time YouTube started, a little later. And one of the things I started talking about was self-promotion. And the thing I said is you have to be focused on your career and on what you're going to be saying, because you have to be heard above the noise. That's the key, is you're doing this so you can be heard above the noise. You're basically, I'm so used to looking at the chat, I've got to close the chat for right now. Anyway, so you're looking above the noise. You're looking to get above the noise. So why long form? Now, somebody in the chat made a comment about the fact that after 10 minutes you get paid. Yes, that is a reality that I will admit that I was not going to focus on here, because it is so weird about how YouTube runs its algorithm for paying on shorts, on how many subscribers you need, on how many views you need per month, per year. The only reason I look at the analytics on my channel is basically I just like to see if every once in a while somebody liked a video that I had posted 2 years ago. I have not exactly been that great at posting lately. So basically, but the long form stuff beyond that usually comes about from the fact that somebody is passionate about the subject. They can't shut up talking about it, and their friends have stopped listening to them. Their wife is basically sitting across you from them at the breakfast table going, yes, I know that show aired today, but can we talk about where we're going, what time we're leaving for work? Passion about the subject. I would say basically this is the majority of the stuff you will see out there, even in the stuff that's just explaining, why something works, why a piece of gear works, or what's going on. They have a strong passion about the subject, or they have strong opinions on something. What is one of the ways you can create change is by getting out there and being heard. And for good or for bad, you are heard on social media if you do it right. If you do it right, you're heard on social media. Or maybe you're an aggregate. Maybe you have all this information that is things that people don't have in their arsenal, that you want to basically say, hey, if I put it all together, I could do the long form. But There's a lot of stuff out there now. There is more noise out there than you would believe. And what we have to think about is how are we being heard above it? So, long form, basically connecting to a common interest. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what I just said. Common interest. People basically think about the idea of we need to meet people, we need to get connected, we need to collaborate with people, we need to do different things. But we live in a connected age because we have become a little unconnected in the workforce. We're very used to remote jobs, remote learning, remote stuff. I mean, you're taking an online degree from everywhere in the world on here. And I'm basically, for those that have had me for an instructor, they know that I'm working in my guest room in a makeshift studio, doing these, doing my lectures. And basically, people have made connections doing long form videos, finding a common interest because people will comment on these and and if you reply to comments and if you do stuff and if you build up a community, you can actually build out a great framework of friends and basically promote yourself and your stories. But also long form is where you would use where you would potentially do narrative. Yeah, it is a little bit on pitching an idea. That's where I'm going to get in. I'm going to get into that with the short form. And that's a great transition, Brian, because short form comes around because you're trying to make a point or you're doing some self-promotion. So short form winds up being under that 10-minute mark because you really, I don't want to say don't care, but you basically are looking at using the short form to either express an opinion or to self-promote something else. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to show some examples. Give me 1 second. Sorry, minor interruption. Positive interruption. Okay, so short form, self-promotion. And we want to think about the idea that it could connect to another piece of the puzzle. But everyone, I've got a little bit of a pause. I've got a friend jumping in. You will know if you have had intro to post-production, Professor Andrew Rout has joined me in the session and he has graciously offered to keep an eye on the chat for me. So, basically, Professor Rout, thank you very much.
You are welcome, Mike.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm in your territory.
You are? That's awesome. Okay. Well, carry on.
I was joking about the fact that with the short form and self promotion, basically one of the things that Professor Rout likes to do is he likes to do these sessions because he really wants to connect with people on the level of, hey, understand audio, understand what you can connect with, what you can do. So if Professor Rout was doing a short form, he might do something where he might have an example of a wireless microphone or an example of a boom pole or an example of something to where he's demonstrating something that he does on set. That would be a short form, but a snippet is a direct self-promotion of something that is longer. Episodic is a weird scenario because that can be either niche-based in an extended amount of time, or it can be short form. There are people that are out there making shorts and making videos that are actually episodic things that they do on TikTok, on Instagram, on everything. But basically, they're really just doing that as their day job. A lot of people that do episodic or do snippets of long form are really the ones that have made YouTube and all these social media platforms their job. I am not getting into the scenario of making this your job. I'm getting into the idea of what you need to think about as what you need to think about when it comes to using social media. So, going to give you a little bit of a resource. Right here on the screen are all as a physical representation of all the aspect ratios. And it is very daunting to know when to use 9 by 16, 16 by 9, 4 by 5, 1 by 1, 1.91, 5.4. This, just thinking about this gives me a headache. But giving credit where credit is due, a few years ago, I learned about a site called Sprout Social. And they have a spreadsheet they keep up to track with on all of the social medias. So, one of the important things when you're repurposing social media is it's assumed that you're either taking an existing 16 by 9 or you're shooting for 16 by 9. So, I just want to walk through here and just give a little bit of a shout out on a couple of these things here. What I want you to see is all of these social media platforms have broken down the type of video that they do. Shared posts, shared landscape, shared portrait. 360 is becoming a big thing. Reels. This is one of the benefits of sometimes on Facebook is you can just scroll through these reels and then stories on here. These are the short form ones. But what I like about this list, it gives you the recommended resolutions, what you want to set up. And I'm going to talk about how to set that up and the different aspect ratios. 9 by 16, stereoscopic 360 view 1:1. But Instagram has different levels on here with different aspect ratios, but pretty much is 9 by 16, except for ads. Ads need to be 1:1. And they have a frame rate on here. But the interesting thing is to take a look at, and that was the one thing, maximum length. 90 seconds for a reel is the maximum length on Facebook. 60 seconds is a maximum length for a story. Instagram, 60 minutes for carousel videos. Instagram stories, 90 seconds. Instagram reels, 3 seconds up to 15 minutes. Ads, 2 minutes, 1 second to 30 to 60 minutes. Frame rate on here. TikTok I found interesting. You can only do up to 3 minutes if it's recorded on the app. And that's one of the things they pitch is use the app. But if you take it from another source, it can be up to 10 minutes long. So they basically are saying, use our app and do the quickie stuff. Do that fast thing on here. Do the quickie thing. Twitter basically has 140 seconds. YouTube, where it all started from. Every video length, 12 hours. And it's got in here that it can do 240s, 360, 480, 720, 1080, 1440, 2160, 4320. That's insane. But YouTube Shorts, right down here, same as above, depending on resolution size. They want 9 by 16 or 1:1, up to 3 minutes. The last one that I want to show on here, because Pinterest and Snapchat are kind of very, very, very specialized. But LinkedIn, the networking platform, they also are wanting people to share things in their videos. So they have it to where you can professionally, I'm going to give the site out again. They basically want you to upload professional things, little videos you're doing, little snippets of professional stuff, demonstrate your work, connect to an audience. So even LinkedIn is connecting to an audience. So this is, again, it is a thing called Sprout Social. And I am going to make sure that when I wrap this up, I'm going to put a link with it when it is uploaded to the chat. But let me go on to the reason why I'm only doing this real quickly is they are a company that are an aggregate for social media. I am not using them for that. I am using them for the resource of the spreadsheet. So that's all I'm using it for, is just the spreadsheet. So Sprout Social. Okay. So aspect ratios. So the problem that we have is that you notice that most of the stuff was 16 by 9 or 9 by 16, and these are the standards. But if you take a look at it, in the middle of the screen is the 16 by 9. All I did was pull the 9 by 16 out of here, and you can see what is going on with it. But I want to give you a better example. So I mentioned a little bit at the beginning my geekiness on here, and I found the perfect thing to show is they released the trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and they took the trailer and they literally unedited put the trailer into 16, put it into TikTok at 9 by 16. But the editor had to literally hit a moving target. And I want you to watch. Now, when I play this, in the center-ish of the frame is going to be the full trailer. To the side is going to be what they posted on TikTok. And what you're going to see is follow the bouncing box is where the editor had to grab from in the trailer to be able to do to show those different things. And then I'm going to walk through it a little bit.
I have many things I want to talk about. Hopes. Dreams. Fears. I believe you are here so I can share them with you.
You, more than anyone that I know, have thought about the past and the future a great deal. But most of us live in the now.
Perhaps what happens next will define everything.
Where are you sending us?
Well, this is a fun one.
I know what we are about to do is hard.
There is never any reason to do something alone when you need help.
There's too much at stake.
The SOS was a trap. Everyone out now.
We need to get off this ship. Everybody, hang on to something. Anything. Everything.
Let's save this ship and our friends.
You are facing the finest crew in Starfleet, and they will be able to fight back in ways you cannot imagine.
We've seen a lot of strange new worlds. But we'll never see something like this again.
Don't worry, Spock. I'm sure one day you'll get to aim that logical mind of yours at some lucky captain.
So I did not envy the editor when I had to do this. I had to keyframe. I took the trailer and keyframe the graphic to each spot that there was an edit so that it could line up. And I want to take a walk through a couple things on here. I'm going to turn the volume down on this on here. And I want to take a look at what they decided on, where the visual story was. And that's the important part on here is, first of all, when it starts, it had to get your attention. It had to grab your attention. So, of course, what are you going to do? You're going to give a recognizable ship, and you're going to give a little bit of the area. But the next thing we get is a face. Who is the key person of the scene is a question the editor has to ask. We're not going to basically do anything. We're going to have it over the shoulder. We're going to basically focus on the face. Right there. And notice I did an estimation of this, but so there was a little bit of stuff, but notice on the right, on the 16, on the 9x16, they had to make sure that you saw the reaction to the dialogue. It was important. But in later scenes, oh, they obviously reduced down the name of that. Everything is about the eyes. Where is the eye being taken? Where is it going? Every box was framed on the rule of thirds to make sure that the focus was always on the eyes or the hero ship. Right here, the ship is going into a black hole. We needed to recognize basically that this was the Enterprise going into this danger, this strange new world. But then, of course, we have the human element. So we have a moment here, but then we've got a dramatic element here of somebody doing something with a piece of a technical device. And instead of focusing on the device at first, they focus on the face, then the device. And of course, I always loved this one. I loved this. This framed up so perfectly with the Enterprise in the middle of the frame. It was like the editor had said to me, "You're welcome." Our hero ship. Again, we're going into this intensity, but the focus is on the face, the person, the event. Notice the framing here where they chose to do the eyes. This is somebody, he's leaning in, so it's in a little bit of an awkward frame, but they still make sure to give the intensity of the framing for the person. This one I love because you've got all this stuff happening on frame, but they again chose what the person was seeing over here. The point of view of the person. This one, of course, we're going to get the saucer of the Enterprise. Each person, each character, adventure. Now, this is an interesting one. I've shown you that they've gone on to the key characters on the moment and on the eyes. They had a choice between two characters here. Pike is the key person, but he's out of focus because in the shot, when they did the actual filming, the focus was on the character in the background, on number one. And so that's where the framing went. And the look on the face basically is right there. So the focus of the shot went on the focus of the piece. They had a track to follow the thing. Now, here's another one. Yes, we see the fingers going up, but the key shot is not the hands. You could say the hands are that shot because it would match as you went into the edit. But no, once again, reminder of who the hero ship is. My favorite one is coming up here. Faces, horses. Now we're getting into action. We're getting into faster edits. We're making sure to stay on the people. Yeah, Travis, we're going to be talking about that next month. I'm going to be going into that in a little bit. This one I love. Basically, in order to get the shot here, in order to get the framing, take a look. It's the same shot. All they did was do a quick edit over as the ship was being hit. Same shot, two different shots. They chose who the person was that was in the frame because they're the one that is firing at the dinosaur. But you'll notice that for the action, we got a little bit of a nice little tease on the fact the dinosaur is attacking one of these people. My favorite one of all is the fact that of all this group, they chose to focus on her again because of the eyes, because of the things going on there. So you can basically see where the choices are in the movement, and that it's not just about being able to, what do you call it? To be able to just drop in 16:9. But one of the interesting things I found when I was looking at this stuff, when I was looking at the trailer, is I posted it to TikTok, this video. And one of the things I noticed is when you click on full screen, when you're recording.
Fears. I believe you are here so I can share them with you.
You, more than anyone.
I noticed that basically you have full screen. If you are recording it off your phone, it puts up the identification of the person's information. But if you are basically not recording it off your phone, it disappears and you can watch the whole video on here. So I'm going to show a little bit about that. So let's get into a couple things on that repurpose. We have to think about the idea of the fact that we're choosing where things go. I'm about to go into some of my settings. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Yes, I work with a bunch of them. But what I want to show is I want to show that basically when you are uploading your videos, you have options for doing different things, add live video posts. When you click on post and you select from the computer,
I have many things I want to talk about.
it takes over. Sorry about the volume.
Hopes. Dreams. Fears. I believe you are here so I can share them with you.
Let me see on here.
I have many things.
Card. I believe I had a slide on that. Okay. I don't want to have everyone blasted in their ears, but basically what happens is that it goes to 16:9, 9:16, or 1:1. It gives you the option, but it just drops it in there so that when you play it, it automatically drops it in with all of the letterboxing. If I go to TikTok and select a video, it shows me what's in the feed, but it tells me because it recognized the 16:9 that it's going to put it into full screen mode, and it basically will let you choose the option of clicking full screen and you can watch it in aspect, but it'll show you basically what it's going to look like on your profile and what it would look like on the web. So this is both of them basically taking over and saying this is what we want. But I talked about self-promotion. I talked about shorts. This is one of the things that is going on now, is that there are places that are using short form to promote themselves on their channels of the longer piece. So this is a thing called Taskmaster, and they have shorts on their platform that basically when you click on the short, let's see, there we go. When you click on the short,
I have brought in my Tom Jones Does Country and Western record.
right here, this link. It takes you to the episode. So they're using the short to basically take you to the episode. I
have brought in my Tom Jones.
But going into the switching, you have a gentleman by the name of Alton Brown who used to do a show on the Food Network called Good Eats. And he basically went into doing some longer form videos. And now on YouTube, he's actually restarted a version of his show with the different materials. But if you look on here, there's only a few shorts that he's done here. He has actually embraced TikTok, and all of his stuff is now on TikTok. And he's making different promotional shorts for himself on here to be able to promote what he's doing on YouTube. So that's what you want to think about when you're doing this stuff, is where you're going, what are you wanting to do? Now, I did say about repurposing on technical. And so basically, I'm going manual. I'm going to close that out. I'm going to bring up Premiere. I want people to see my timeline. I keyframed everything in this shot. When you click on position, all of these are the keyframes for where that video was going to be landing. I went through and looked at that and went, this is everything on here. I'm showing this because that was me repurposing it. I could very easily have gone into Premiere Pro here and been able to redo a lot of the same stuff. But closing out the project, here is a video from Fundamentals of Production 1 that I did on doing a slate. And I'm going to go manual now and show you basically what you can do with your own stuff. And what editors do is when they get the edit, they have the means of being able to choose what they want to do with different projects. So I'm going to go into a bin here. I'm going to find my reveal sequence in project. There it is. And so I had right here, I have my timeline. Let me clear that out just to show. This is my timeline with a 16:9 piece of video. You can go in and do one of two things. You can duplicate the timeline, give it a name, and I'm going to give it 9:16. And you can do one of two things. Let me click on that, close out the other one. And you do one of two things. You can go up to sequence, and you can go down to auto reframe sequence. And it'll ask you what you wanted to do. Square, vertical, 4:5, 9:16, horizontal or custom aspect ratio. So I'm going to choose 9:16, and I'm going to hit create. This is going to create a new bin of repurposed sequences. And you see it's 9:16 here. And if I go through this, you'll see that everything is in there 9:16. However, I got things cutting off here. So what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to actually control where everything is placed. And you see on here, it's reframing, it's auto framed and everything. And it's basically taken away a lot of the control I have, except right here, adjust position. I don't like this. So I am going to exit out of it, go back into my main bin, I'm going to undo, and I'm in here in the sequence. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go into sequence settings and choose what size I want. So I can basically decide 1080 by 1920. Hit OK, get the warning. And now it leaves everything basically centered, and it gives you a little bit of headroom up in the top and the bottom. The reason why this is important is because when you go through the edit, I made some tricks in here where I basically had done some jump cuts and hid some edits. So I can now see what the information is on here. So I can go in to one of these clips. Now I've got full control on the motion, the scale, the rotation, all of this stuff by doing this manually, clip by clip. And I can scale up and choose how far I'm scaling up. Am I going to go all the way up? Am I going to give it a little bit of letterboxing? You know, still keep a little bit of room in there? But because this is the problem with the automatic, is the fact that the larger you scale it, the noisier it gets. So if I wanted to stay at 150, which is about the average, I could stay right here. Now, with position, yeah, I'm going manual. Now, I can sit there and choose which way I want to do this. So that's the trick on here. Is the reason I'm showing the manual side of the equation is it doesn't require the download of a separate app, a web app, that kind of thing. It basically right here, for example, is we're about to have him point to the slate. So I don't want the slate out. I don't need that. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the slate. So I can just basically go into position right here. Boom, I've got the slate. Go in here. Now, one of the things I did not do is when you get your framing here, let's say I like this. Hit copy. Go into your timeline. Let me expand it out a little bit. Carry it down and click paste attributes. And it's going to now have everything zoomed in at that same scale. Now I can go in and I can click on the individual ones and see what I want. You have to make sure you're hovered over it. So like there, the slate, I want the slate a little bit more on here. So I'm going to go in, do the position. There's my slate. Move forward to the next one. I'm okay with the slate where it's at. So I might have to go through and I might have to adjust some things depending on what I want. But if I want people to connect with the person, I may leave it to where I basically, my microphone, when I practiced this, my microphone wasn't in the way. I go into position. And let's say I want to have a little more of him on here centered, talking to the audience because he's looking at the camera. We've done enough staring at the slate. Let's connect with the person. So that's the trick with the visual story is, am I connecting with the slate or am I connecting with the person? Now, one last one on here. I also appear on this video. I make the joke that when I frame for stuff, I shot this, I know, on a higher resolution. I know what resolution, I shot this on 4K. So I know I can scale up a little bit. Notice I'm able to get good headroom. I'm able to get the shoulders. I'm able to get everything in because basically when I shot this, I framed for punch-ins. Jessica Colbine basically says I should have I made the joke I should have a t-shirt that says that because I am not a fan of the stuff that's been coming out on Open Gate because of the fact that basically it seems like it's making it to where it's making, how should I put this? I don't want to say lazy filmmakers, but I want to say basically it's having people that seem to be, that they don't decide what they want to shoot. They basically just go wide and shoot it. And that's the one thing I always look at when I'm doing these presentations is I try to maintain the room on here. Okay, so that was just a little bit of a flavor of what was going on with this because we basically only have an hour in these sessions on here. Let's see, I think there is a Q&A scenario on this. So basically, are there any questions on anything before I continue on with the last part? I'm not finding the Q&A setting on here. I tried to set it up beforehand. Okay, so this was a brief preview of some of the stuff that we're going to be. Oh, Anthony, yes, you have a question.
Yes, since you're teaching us how to like convert landscape into portrait, there's also another method where you could just put your landscape in a portrait timeline and then just blur the background. What are your thoughts on that?
It's that control. It's the control scenario. Yes, that is a possibility. You could blur the background, but I am a fan of trying to keep the entire the most information of the image. To me, I'm choosing within the frame. That's why I was showing the stuff when I moved back and forth. So if it wasn't important in the frame, basically the depth of field, the background, the whole thing is on there. No, that reminded me, I wanted to comment on the apps. The reason why I also look at this to where know the manual and know it on your software is you keep it on your own platform. You keep it on your own computer, your own hard drive, your own editing system. You choose where you upload it. You're not putting it on somebody else's server. So you have to watch out for some of these apps. Now, I'll admit, I'm not familiar with a lot of the apps on there because I am used to going manual or used to doing my own stuff. So basically, I do work on it, put it in. None of this stuff that I have on here has gone in through any editing platform other than Premiere Pro. And no AI was used in the making of this video. So basically, what I was going to be saying is, thank you, Anthony. So what I was going to be saying is next month, Professor Rao, I don't know if Professor Rao's going to be part with this. We still need to work on it. But Professors Baker and myself are going to be, oh, I saw Andy put his thing on. Yes, Professor Rao, are you going to be part of next month?
Of course.
All right. We are going to talk
Absolutely.
about how to shoot for vertical and how to basically frame up for doing horizontal and vertical. And
I was just about to ask that question, how we're composing for 16:9 to, and to make it easy to convert to 9:16 based on how you compose the shot. So we do that. I think we're gonna present display overlays.
Yeah, Professor Baker's got the display overlays. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about shooting vertical with your gear. We're going to talk about also, we're going to talk about how you can frame for being able to do the aspect ratios because I worked in a camera rental house, and one of the things that they did was they made custom ground glasses that were the aspect ratios where the operator could frame up in, and you as the camera operator determine what's the best framing for all the aspect ratios. So yeah,
Right.
we're going to be doing that. And this video going to be available to rewatch another time. Yeah, the video is going to be posted probably, it takes about a week because it has to be downloaded from Zoom, then uploaded to another platform, and then it has to be put on there by our web design instructor. So it's going to be a matter of when I get the video, when I download it, get it converted, get it to her, and gets up on We Are DCBuzz. So I'd say about a week.
Yeah, all of our Live from the Hive DC buzzes are all archived for later viewing and to be used in other, we share the content between courses.
Yeah, and I'll be putting up the link to the social media guide on there when I've got to talk to our web person. I'm trying to remember. I don't know how to put up the media yet. It may be something that we'll just put in there as on request.
I thought that spreadsheet was brilliant.
Yeah, I found that in 2019, and they've been updating it. The last update was May of this year.
Because when you think about it, we teach you the arc of production workflow, and you got to remember the deliverables are pretty much the last stage. We can produce and produce, and of course, we need to have an idea of the platform and where the people live on what platforms that we're trying to reach. So, that deliverables is really important, especially for QCing on big platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV, so it's important to understand deliverables and specs are super important. And that's why that spreadsheet, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I've loved it. It's been great because you should have seen the spreadsheet. To give everybody an idea, they do update it. There was a bunch of stuff that for a long time was one by one, one by one, one by one, one by
Ugh.
one. And when I opened up the sheet, and I haven't looked at it in a while. When I opened up the sheet and saw the update from May, it was like, damn, a lot of people have gone to the 16 by 9 and 9 by 16.
What
But
about the audio deliverables? Because like Netflix won't certify a Netflix production without delivering an Atmos mix.
that one, I think we can probably put a pin in that one. That might be something we could talk about during the shooting part.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a post-production a post-production thing, but it seems like it should be on that spreadsheet.
Oh,
If you're
this is
talking.
for social media. That's the problem. That
Well, I
spreadsheet
mean,
is completely social media only. They're not doing stuff for streaming services like Netflix, that kind of thing. This is a company that's trying to pitch you to use them as your
yeah,
source for uploading social media.
yeah. But I think it is important for filmmakers to understand because social media, you can get away with, just like stereo mixes, but just understanding that, just like we film 16 by 9, 9 by 16, every deliverable platform is going to have their set of deliverables specs. So just something that would be good to at least address.
Yeah, that's going to be that next month.
Yeah.
Trust me, we're rocking and rolling on that one.
Yeah.
So I only put in basically the stuff that was going to whet the appetite and show a little bit of hands-on the fact that you don't need to go to a website and use somebody else's server. You got your own server, basically. Let's see if I can get it up in here. I'm playing off of a 5 terabyte hard drive that I was using for the the Premiere Pro stuff I used. So basically, I was running the edit of a 4K video off of basically a 5-tier hard drive. Nothing went to a server other than the final stuff that I was basically wanting. Oh, we just got a bunch of stuff in here.
Oh, you mean YouTube server?
Right. Basically, what I'm saying is that I didn't have to use another app or put it to a web service or something like that that converted it or that
Right.
stuff and said we posted it. I have full control, and all I'm putting up to YouTube or Instagram or TikTok is just the video that I chose to put there. My stuff isn't living on somebody else's server.
Yes, correct.
I'm not a big fan of the Instacut stuff. I'm just basically feel like I want the control, Andy. I
Oh,
want
yeah.
that. That's the thing. I am a control freak on this stuff. I would have loved to have found it, but I couldn't find one in time to be able to record it. The ones that drive me nuts are the repurposing ones that basically do the auto tracking and they'll go boom, 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 trying to find the person that's in the shot.
Oh, wow. That'd be a little disconcerting to watch.
Oh, it was. One of the worst ones is when they dropped some videos for the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? And they got people walking across the stage doing improv, and it kept trying to find which of the people was talking. So basically, as somebody talked, the video suddenly went boom, this person's talking. Oh, this person's talking. This person's talking. And I was getting seasick.
When you played the Star Trek stuff, being old school, I mean, I'm actually on the lower end of the boomers. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, why would anyone want to watch in vertical because, there's so much power. And we've talked about this in my class and subsequent classes about how powerful having that whole image, the whole 16:9 aspect ratio to visually support your story. And then when you were breaking it down, there was this discussion on monetizing, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll deal with that. But
Yeah.
when you actually, repurpose, you're really looking at each scene and really making an assessment on what is the most important thing in that scene that drives the story.
That last 30 seconds, Andy, where they started doing all this stuff, it took me an hour to keyframe.
Oh, I can imagine.
But I was determined. My wife went to bed and fell asleep, and I'm there basically going, okay, click, 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 click. Literally, I found a pattern. I was able to make a keyframe, duplicate the keyframe, and then go into the next clip, keyframe the lock, and then just go 3 frames in and start the new keyframe. Once I got that pattern down, I was rocking and rolling.
But back to when you started this off and we were talking about snippets and shorts and long form, and
Yeah.
you were showing the Alton Brown and the other examples, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, vertical is great for just quick promotion.
Yes.
To drive traffic to watch the full 16:9. And I thought, okay, that I can buy that.
Yeah.
But
Like, I don't know if you know about that, but when any of the shorts that I've done, and I haven't done that many, but all of them have the link to the long form video of the piece.
yeah,
So what I'll
because
do is,
and I think Anthony made a point that it's super time consuming. I mean, if
yeah,
you really want to have the control, like you were talking about, to really fine tune it, that's one thing. But to control to fine tune it, that's a lot of work. I mean, to really tweak it.
right. And there was so much stuff that I decided to say technical over the aesthetic, but there is so much stuff that you can change just by moving things around for effectiveness of the story. Are you trying to, draw emotion? Are you trying to get attention from stuff on here? And yeah. And one of the things that fits into what you're saying about the horizontal and vertical is Ava right here is saying basically there were so many cool things that they missed because of the vertical. That box was bouncing around, and that was why I was showing that the editor on that one chose to connect to people over stuff. And it was only at the end that they really, because the editor of the original video basically started doing the boom, 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 boom with stuff, that they actually started doing, okay, now we're going to show the cool stuff.
Yeah, because after a while, I don't want to see all characters' eyes. I want to see the action.
And that's the trick, is what the missing context on that trailer was. And this is a great conversation. I hope everyone's enjoying this, because this is going where I did not expect. And thank you, Professor Rout. This is cool. Basically, the one thing that they're trying to do context, one thing they're trying to do context on is the fact that basically they're trying to make more of the human connection. They're trying to make more of the connection, that there's going to be more human drama. There's going to be more stuff on that one. But unless you're a fan that's been following stuff, you don't get it. So the what do you call it? The subliminal idea is, look what's going on with the people. Look what's going on with the people. Look what's going on with the people. Cut to dinosaur mouth grabbing, almost grabbing Liana. I screw up the characters' names, and I'm watching this thing for 3 seasons. By the way, when I'm done here, I am going and watching the episode. The season premiere was today. They dropped the first episode, and I'm doing the video that said on July 23rd. On July 23rd. Oh, Andy, answer this one, because you got to take this one. I also can't stand people trying to normalize buying small lav mics and holding them in their hands. Like we get it, it's a tiny mic from TikTok shop, but for the love of God, clip it to your shirt.
Are we going down? Are we having that discussion? No, you should be slapped. No, just stop it. Put it down. That's not how we use
I just wanted to
love.
hear you say it. The one I love, and I'm pulling this out here. The one I love is where, hang on.
Oh, this whole Zoom has made me now want to watch the trailer for the Odyssey in vertical.
Oh God. All right.
Not.
Okay, so I've got
No,
the
thank
shotgun mic
you.
from the camera. I got the shotgun mic from the camera. These are what we get also. Yeah.
Say it isn't so.
Oh, it's so. Wait, the fun ones are when we get it without the windscreen and they start talking into it like this. And it sounds like that when they're talking into the microphone.
Why don't you just throw in a tap, tap, tap is this thing on?
There.
But this has been, guys, this has been an amazing Zoom. Amazing one. It's something that, you know, while we are so pro 16:9 for obvious reasons, because you know you need to understand composition. You need to, it's so super important. And you know, you'll learn that not everything is rule of thirds. There are other ways to compose a shot, but you know, we want you to understand that we're on this stuff. We are so on it, but we're navigating it like everyone else is to be able to teach you this so you'll make good decisions. You'll truly, it won't be, you know, you're just doing 9:16 because, ooh, isn't this cool? But you will make educated decisions on why you shoot something a particular way and to give you the most flexibility for your delivery options. What do you say to that, Mike?
That is the one thing that basically we have to think about is the flexibility. And I basically was sitting here thinking about all the stuff they talked about with the new FX5 that just came out. And basically, someone made a comment that there would have been people going after Sony with pitchforks if they didn't put an open gate, because people aren't thinking about the delivery. They're thinking about, oh, I've got all this real estate and everything. So sorry, I checked out just a touch there.
Well, Mike and I, we all are at risk of geeking out.
Yes.
But it takes me back to the recording years when we had analog 24-track tape. And then because that limited our songwriting and our music production, right? But then when we went to DAWs and we had
digital audio workstations,
we had unlimited tracks. It's like, you know, by putting boundaries on you forces you to be creative. I think one of the worst things that was done was getting rid of shooting on film. You know,
this stuff right here,
because film had limitations. It had, you know, we had a limited amount of film in our loads, and it was very costly if we wasted it. You know, so we're very purposeful and intentional. And now, you know, by, you know, having an open gate, it's just like, it's not training students to really think through the shot, you know, which in the end, Mike, and when it comes to editing and post-production and deciding what we're going to edit, it just makes things really hard.
Yeah, that's the thing is basically when I was looking at that, yeah, Jessica gave me crap about it because I talked about it in FOP1 last night in my Zoom, that the first time she heard me say it, she heard me, somebody talk about open gate, and I basically looked at the camera and I went, I don't need open gate. I know how to frame. I was so nasty.
Well,
Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me back up. Open gate. What it is basically in the sensor on the camera, the electronically have it to where it goes to 16 by 9, but the sensor itself is actually 4 by 3. So what open gate is it basically is saying that whatever you frame up, it will capture the entire sensor. So even if you frame for 16 by 9, it will still capture above and below the 16 by 9. So it's kind of an oversample. Just, and I heard somebody else say this, and I was basically going, hallelujah. If you want to have open frame and you want to frame for that, just widen your shot a little bit.
yeah.
There, I just did open frame. Have a nice day.
So there you go,
Just did
guys.
open gate.
Open gate.
Open gate, open gate, let cow out, close gate, wait for cow to come home. All right. Oh, checking the gate is something, yes. Anthony, you'll be reading about it in FOP1. There is a concept where they do talk about checking the gate as a part of what I don't know if you know this, Andy, but basically what I do is I talk about the idea of you still have to of reviewing your last shot you did before you change your setups. I refer to it as checking the gate, because that way they make sure that they had the recording going before they tear down the camera and move to the next setup.
Yes. Interesting.
But that comes from my AC days when I had to check the gate.
Right.
Yeah. I worked at a rental house for film. I worked on film sets. Checking the gate was basically looking for hair in the mag.
Exactly.
No, it's not just check the thumbnail, it's check the footage. Thumbnails
Right.
lie.
Right. You don't want to process the film and have dirt and hair and all that kind of stuff in the image.
Exactly. I'm going to give you a new one on social media and on digital filmmaking. Okay. Because someone mentioned, or you mentioned the Odyssey on there. Because of how fast IMAX film goes through the camera, Tom Holland, when Nolan would call cut, thought that Nolan wasn't liking his performance. He didn't realize that the film cameras only ran for 3 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
So every time the Nolan was calling cut on the performance, he thought he was doing something wrong because he's used to digital. Now, flip side on that one, Star Trek Picard, the last shot on Star Trek Picard that they did of the group playing poker was an overhead shot of them playing poker, and they let it roll for 45 minutes and let the actors riff off each other, and they grabbed what they wanted for the ending shots.
Wow.
Yeah, that was insane.
Have you seen the projector down at the Cinedome? Down at the... Guys, if you ever get a chance to go to an Omnimax or IMAX theater and actually see the projector and the platters of the film, it's like in an Omnimax, which is kind of like a dome theater. There's this place inside called the doghouse, and the projection lens goes up on a track. Okay. And the film, have you seen that, Mike? The film is just like flapping in the wind.
Oh yeah.
As it goes up and
Minutes
goes
did a
through
whole
the
thing
machine.
on it on there. So they showed the Odyssey's plates.
Oh geez, guys, if you ever just Google IMAX projection behind the scenes, it'll just blow your mind.
Ava, it is the planetariums that are basically keeping Omnimax intact. In fact, the 70 millimeter presentation of the Odyssey here in Florida is down in Miami at one of the science museums.
I was blessed in my career to have done audio design, post-production, all of that for four productions that were played in Omnimax theaters. It's it was simply amazing. That's for another time if you want to hear that story.
Yeah,
but
basically,
not for this
we're
one.
going way off the.
Yeah. But it's all about framing. It's all about presentation. It's who are we trying to reach, with our stories and it's just fascinating.
Mhm.
We have a propensity to geek out.
Yeah, we're definitely geeking out on this one because, and you know me, I bring stuff around on that. I bring stuff around on it, and basically, listen to the geek out. We're not geeking out about 9x16. We're geeking out about 185, 239. We're geeking out about 4x3 large screen, because you want that frame for the story. Think
Yeah.
about this. Look at this on here. I have got the frame of a 16:9 right now. I am on an FX3 doing a live stream because I feel it's important to have a good resolution 16:9 frame for my film students.
Because then you can show all that wonderful information that is supporting you, Mike Hanley, and showing the depth to the shot.
Oh, okay. Preview.
Uh-oh.
Framing on vertical. There you go. I'm now framed for a vertical shot. Punch in. And I'm on a 35 millimeter lens, 3 feet with the camera. The camera's on a 35 millimeter lens, 3 feet from about there. I'm touching the teleprompter. That's the lens that's attached to the lens.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, well, we got to wrap this up soon. I'm glad people were commenting on their understanding on that. What all I saw was this. But all of this, what I got to say is all of this fits into what we were talking about tonight, because having the understanding of all of this helps you find when it's appropriate to use it. And my son is the one that made me get into TikTok, and he's a videographer also. I consider myself a cinematographer, and he should consider himself one also. But basically, he's the one. He told me you need to start looking at TikTok. It's like the Wild West. And I started looking at what they were promoting on there, and I started watching it. But I was like, okay. But what really got me is I finally sat down and did a YouTube short, and of the same thing I had done a long form on, and a YouTube short basically got double the views of my long form video.
Wow.
Because it's shorter. Quick scan. It played for 1 minute, and then they moved on to the next thing. So, sir, do you want to give any kind of preview as to what you'd like to talk about for the 9x16 shooting next month?
Oh,
what would you like
gosh.
to see?
I don't know yet. I don't know what I want to talk about, other than it's back to that understanding about shot types and how important that is in understanding these concepts, so you can make good decisions. All the technical stuff aside, you can learn that, but having the wisdom and judgment when we're storytelling is really important, but also to not be afraid to try stuff.
Yeah, they missed that when I introduced you, the course owner of intro to post production. So Anthony, now that you turned the camera on, and he just recognized you.
Who recognized me?
Anthony. Anthony, I've never tried to pronounce your last name. I apologize.
Barone, like TV show.
What?
It's Anthony Barone, like TV show. Everybody loves
Barone. Okay.
So yes, then Anthony, you recognize this set here, right? From all our Zooms.
Being dark.
All right. Let me turn up some.
No, we gotta go.
Oh, come on. I wanted to, say, hey, check out the background lighting.
As I check
all right, yeah.
No. Wait. I'm gonna give you one thing.
What?
Okay, I just spotlighted your video, so
Oh
that
my
you're gonna be
gosh.
on.
Oh,
So
no.
go ahead, check out the lighting in the background.
Oh, and see the background lighting? Here's the, you know, just stop, Mike.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up because, as you see, Professor Rotten and I can go down this very, very, very deep rabbit hole. And my producer basically just came in and went, "You're gabbing."
Oh, you mean your wife?
Exactly.
I just think it's good for them, Mike, to see our passion
Oh,
for
I know,
this,
I know.
outside of teacher mode, you know?
I know it is great. And we'll be going into a lot more stuff. So listen, everybody that's here and everyone's listening to the recording, if you haven't been to wearedcbs.com, wearedcbs.com, that's where a lot of these recordings are, and you'll see the past stuff. And a little bit of an extra preview, I always do the Halloween one.
I'm going to compose, Mike, a special introduction music cue for that show for you this year. How's that? Would you
Oh, I
like
love
that?
it. Oh, Autumn is asking, wearedcbs.com. Wearedcbs.com.
Yep.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat for people here. Sometimes the chat doesn't transfer to
Yeah, that's an awesome. You guys need to, and we all say this. We love producing this content for you guys. So we just hope that you'll watch this stuff and soak it up like a biscuit, because these are times when you can see us talk about things that we're passionate about instead of just delivering coarse content.
exactly, and people are spreading the word. All right, listen, it is 8:30 and I'm loving the conversation. Andy, do not get me wrong. I would go on forever on this.
Oh, I know.
I only scheduled a certain amount of time on this.
There will
It's
be
past
more
my bedtime. I'm a
opportunity.
Gen X.
I'm a boomer. I go to bed even earlier. Okay.
All right, everyone, thank you for coming. I'm going to stop the recording for the archives, and I'll give that way I can give a little bit more of a personal thank you to the live group. So to the people watching this in the recording, glad you came by. Hope you enjoyed it.